Ladies and gentlemen, the trailer has been released for the highly anticipated anime adaptation of Sekiro. Sekiro No Defeat, and it looks like fans are loving it so far. We got 2.3 million views on YouTube. It looks like 166,000 likes on it. People are pretty much positive on it. But with this release of this trailer, we have a little bit of a problem. What I'd like to call Fingergate. We have the appearance of Fingergate, the appearance of count them, 5 fingers, and this is creating a lot of fears for people. There's obviously a lot of talk of AI brewing up in the anime industry. Pretty much every single company is broadcasting to their investors that they're investing in AI. We had last season, we had Twins Hinahima, that was a mostly fully produced AI anime with generative AI, with backgrounds, in-betweens, and everything. And so, yes, people are going to be obviously a little scared that a single frame and a minute and almost half of a entire animation has an additional finger. Now, I'm going to get into what I think is actually going with the finger, and I'm pretty sure it's not additional finger. I think it's just sort of that little kind of clumsy and an in-between. I don't think it's actually an additional finger. I don't think it's generated, but we'll get into that. But I think I do agree with a lot of people's fears around this having some sort of AI within it, and that's because, yes, the studio behind it, Qzilla, isn't really well known. I mean, this is a studio that doesn't really have many projects under its belt. There's a lot of references to AI itself within its website. So let's actually get into the actual announcement of the Sekiro anime. In the official press release, it says the first animated adaptation project of the action-adventure game Sekiro Shadows Die Twice from Software Inc., which depicts the battles of a shinobi in the late Sengoku period, has been announced. The title will be fully hand-drawn 2D animation called Sekiro No Defeat. And there you go. In the actual announcement that they've released pretty much on every single website, with every single news release, with Crunchyroll, who's doing the actual distribution of the anime itself, not really in the production of it, everything lists this as going to be fully hand-drawn 2D animation. And I'm sticking on that a lot, and I think that's really the thing that calms my fears, because, let's face it, studios are very clear when they add some sort of AI. And I'm going to get into another example of Qzilla specifically, where they're very clear when they use AI. Studios and whatnot are very clear when they use AI and how much AI they use, especially when it comes to generative, because if they use generative and they're not actually disclosing that, it can land them in a lot of hot water, a lot of problems that will come from it. Animation studio Qzilla will handle production. The anime will depict the bittersweet yet beautiful lives of the characters, this thrilling clash of swords and unique worldview that blends the blood-soaked Sengoku era with the traditional beauty of Japan, all expressed through entirely hand-drawn 2D animation. Again, they're saying it twice in one press release. And I think that's for a reason. I think they're probably trying to head off a lot of concerns because, again, Qzilla, the studio itself, and how public they are about wanting to advance technologies and utilize AI to assist production. What does that mean? What are we talking about there? On their actual website, if you scroll down to technologies right here for the actual website for their studio, they say, we are actively developing technology with the goal of maximizing the value created per second by all those involved in anime production. We challenge the conventional wisdom of existing methods, collaborate with partner companies with high technical capabilities, and utilize the latest technologies such as AI to evolve production processes and expression, thereby bringing about digital disruption in the anime industry. Again, these are very common buzzwords that a lot of studios and a lot of producers are actually using right now because it looks good to investors. If they can streamline, if they can advance their technologies, it makes people want to invest in them. It's not always they're actually using it. Now, the biggest caveat here, and the biggest but I will put in here, and it's something that I personally would create some sort of fear in myself for Sekiro specifically, or at least anything in the future for this company, is a recent talk they did earlier this year that involved them actually presenting their use cases for actual AI. And that was this listing here that was brought to my attention where it says Qzilla Inc. and Komisuma Inc. The TV anime series The Ideal Gigolo Life is scheduled for release in 2026. Although this work is a cell animation, approximately 60% of its animation is produced using AI. This talk will be on the theme of how to deal with AI and the anime production site. Now, They don't specify what of the 60% is being used with AI. Is it generative with in-betweens? Is it, coloring? Is it color correction? Is it backgrounds? The oddity here is that the ideal Gigolo life here is the same language that is used for the ideal Sponger life. I don't know that this is the same anime because this actually took part before this was even announced. And this hasn't even been announced to having a studio or anything for it yet. So I don't know if this is the anime that it's talking about, but I'll keep that in mind for the future. If this does end up actually being Qzil that's, doing this anime here, then yes, 60%, possible 60% use of AI with this project. But again, I want to point out two things with this announcement right here, this presentation talk right here. One, none of these people are involved in Sekiro. None of these names here are in the list of the credits for Sekiro. These are different people completely. And yes, a production of an anime are people. It's not just a studio. You can say Qzil and label on there, that's fine. It's nice to say Studio Trigger's doing this anime, it's great. And you immediately go, oh, Studio Trigger's great. But a lot of studios, a studio isn't what makes the anime, it's the people within it. And with a Sekiro anime, none of these people are involved. With a Sekiro anime, you have a lot of very high caliber people involved. I mean, you have the director right here working on Sekiro right here. This guy's worked on Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't think the OP uses AI. He's worked on Naruto, worked on Bleach. Like, this person has worked on a lot of high caliber shows. You have over here the art director. Art director has worked on Kill la Kill. Art director for Kill la Kill, people. I don't think Kill la Kill used AI. They worked on Anohana. Like, again, these are some Pleto Magi, Madoka Magica. These are some high caliber people. They aren't using AI. You have the chief animation director. Let's see what they worked on. Shoot, Rascal's Not Dream Bunny Girl Senpai. They worked on Takapi's Original Sin. Gosh, that show looked freaking amazing. Kaiju number 8. These people, the high caliber they have actually working on this project, these aren't people just throwing around AI and whatnot. But the other thing I want to point out with this presentation talk is simply how clear they are about using AI. Again, when studios use AI, especially generative AI, they're very clear about it. When Wit Studio did that little short with the dog, they were very clear the backgrounds are using AI. Because if they don't disclose that, that can land them in really hot water. Right now, AI, yes, it is building up in Japan. They're very clear about when they use AI. And like I said earlier, with the original announcement of this project for Sekiro, what they said several times over and over again is it's fully hand-drawn 2D animation. Fully hand-drawn 2D animation. They're being very clear, not this time basically, they're being very clear we're not using AI. They wouldn't go out of their way to say that twice if they didn't know that it's probably going to have some issues with their website and things they've done in the past. And again, this is a studio that's trying to be very kind of progressive with the use of AI, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody actively involved in this is okay with using AI. And they're not jumping off the boat to go after AI. This is a lot of people that have a lot of work under their belt, and they're just doing this new project, which is called Sekiro. Now, that pretty much gives you my impressions here. If I think AI is being used, I don't think so. And to the initial point of, well, answer the question of this finger then, Andrew. Tell us why there's a finger there, Andrew. Well, first of all, let's point out that this is not a new thing. Guess what? Humans, artists less often than AI in a lot of cases with the whole 5-finger issue, humans make mistakes too. Attack on Titan, right here. Yep, that's 5 fingers and a thumb. Oh, let's look over here. My Hero Academia. Yep, that's 5 fingers and a thumb. Oh, look at here, Naruto. 5 fingers and a thumb. This is a common thing. This happens. People make mistakes. But, as this animator on X has pointed out, and pretty much, I think, killed the entire argument on if this is a 5-finger thing, yeah, might not be the case. They post basically an outline of where the fingers are actually at. And the point here being is that this little curvature with this finger right here is actually a knuckle. And yeah, I can technically see it. This is the other finger right here, and it's a knuckle, and it makes it appear like there's an additional finger coming over here, but it's actually just the knuckle of their index finger. Right here. That's what it is. It's not that there's an additional finger here. It's just, again, it's very simple and sloppy. This is a small point on a single frame, And so it technically makes sense that there's going to be a little bit of oddity there that they probably didn't realize was going to be portrayed that way. Like, they're drawing it, and in their brain, it looks fine. It looks like a knuckle in their brain. But when they go to publish it, people are freaking out on Twitter and going, oh my gosh, this is actually AI. And it's not really the case. So I think this person right here, massive credits, by the way. I didn't hit the like button here. Brilliantly pointed out, gets pretty much cemented in my mind. If I had any doubts, no, I don't think this is AI. I just think that it's just a little sloppy. Additionally, I want to point out, because yes, I've seen some people posting here and there that this is a good way to pile on to Crunchyroll, which, good on ya. If you hate Crunchyroll, go hate Crunchyroll. I don't care. I've had plenty of posts and videos in the past where I absolutely hate on Crunchyroll. The whole situation with Precon, them buying out and destroying Right Stuff. I will never stop yelling about Right Stuff and how they destroyed that company. But I want to make something very, very clear. Sekiro is not produced or owned or anything by Crunchyroll. I keep echoing this over and over again. I will never stop echoing this over and over again. If you have a problem with a company, go after actual flaws of the company. If they mess up their subtitles, go after them. If they screw up a company, the Right Stuff, go after them. But saying that Crunchyroll is producing Sekiro and they're using AI and they've chosen the studio, Crunchyroll does not own Sekiro. They don't own the property. They don't own the anime. They don't own anything. All they've done for Sekiro is bought up the license so they can stream it outside of Asia. If you look at the actual producers, it's ARC. Kadokawa and ARC own this. Yes, Kadokawa has 10% of its shares is owned by Sony. But Crunchyroll does not own Kadokawa. They don't own ARC. They don't own the property. They don't own anything about this anime. So this idea that, oh my gosh, it's AI, Crunchyroll's fault, no, they don't own it. Again, go after Crunchyroll for what they do wrong. Otherwise, like I always say, if you yell at Crunchyroll for doing something they're not doing, it drowns out where they're actually doing things wrong. Go after where they're actually doing things wrong. Tell them how stupid they are for screwing up Right Stuff. Because I want Right Stuff back. I want Right Stuff back. Anyways, that is my take on Fingergate. Sekiro Fingergate. I hope you guys found this video informative. If you did, hit the like button down below, comment. Let me know what you think of Fingergate. Do you actually like Five Fingers? I mean, I think it would be really cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you like this content, you want to support the channel more, become a member of the channel. Until next time, y'all take care.